Okay, after you're done with your big ideas, we're going to move on to the next step of this assignment. We're going to use a couple of websites to learn about other cultures. Okay, so right here, we're going to start with this one. So I'm going to give you this link to this website right here, and this website lists off cultures from all over the world. Okay, so I'm just going to pick Canada, and so what this does, this is a professional website about to help people that need to communicate with other cultures. So what it does is it gives a little bit of background information about that culture and that country, some facts and maybe population, right? General things about language, maybe religion, how the society is structured. Um, but eventually it'll get into interactions, and that's really what I'm concerned with. Here's some: how you meet and greet somebody for the first time. Do you make eye contact or not? Do you shake hands or not? Do men and women touch or not? So there'll be different tips about that. Giving gifts is another one that I might ask about. Is there things to avoid, colors to avoid, flowers to avoid? Some things are only meant for weddings or funerals and things like that. Eating tips might be useful as well. For sure, I'm going to ask about meetings. What do you wear to meetings? Do you book meetings ahead of time? Are you on time or do you come late? Some cultures, it's more appropriate to show up late than it is on time. And if there's things that I should know about how people communicate, what do you do if there's a problem? So I could ask all kinds of questions about the interactions with that culture. Okay, for the second half of the assignment, we're going to use this website. Again, link is there. And we're going to do a country comparison. And so I'm going to do Canada. Everybody's going to type in Canada here so that we get Canada showing up. And then there's going to be another culture. And I'm just going to pick India really quickly. And so now you can see Canada's in blue and India's in purple. And so for this second half of the email, I'm going to be asking you questions about this graph here. And I'm only going to be asking questions about the first four areas. So these last two I'm not going to ask about. And so right now I'm going to just delete India because I don't want to talk specifically about India. But you can imagine that there would be another culture here to compare. Could be India, could be China, Japan, Germany, whatever it is. There would be another culture here. And so I'm going to ask questions for any one of these four areas here. So the first area is power distance. And if you wanted to learn more about it, you could click here and it would give you even more information, but I'm just going to explain it to you. So power distance is literally that. It's a distance or a gap or a difference in power or equality in that country. So Canada has a 39. Maybe another culture has a really high number like 90. Well, if there was a culture or a country with a really high number like 90, that means there would be a very large gap in that country between groups of people. There would be a really weak and powerless group of people and then another group of people that had lots of power. And that could be, it could be financial, like money, a rich and a poor group, or it could be military, a strong and a weak group, or just rights, voting rights and things like that. So Canada is at 39, which means most people in Canada have about the same amount of power. And other countries could be lower or higher. And that's the power distance. It's the distance between power of the people living in that country. Next one is individualism. The best way to explain this is me versus we. Me versus we. Some cultures are me, focused on the individual, the me, and some cultures are we. So in Canada, we have a really high score of 80. Canada really focuses on the individual. It's my bank account, it's my education, it's my house, and the decisions I make impact me. And so other cultures are we. So they would have a lower score. A lower score would be they don't celebrate the individual. They might be a we culture. And so the decisions made benefit the entire family or the entire group. Money that's made might be shared with the family or the group. And education benefits the group or the family. And so if I have a low number, then it doesn't celebrate individualism. It's more about the we or the group or the family. Next one is masculinity. And this one is not the difference between male and female roles in the society. It's not that. This one has to do with drive and success and pushing in order to make gains. So a high score here, if I had an 80 in the masculinity, that culture really wants to make gains and succeed and power hungry and success and make money and make advancements. And so they might make those advancements to the detriment of other things. Like maybe they don't put as much emphasis on health care, or maybe on infrastructure. And so that high score might be to the detriment of other things. So if I have a really high score here, maybe that means I'm going to make gains, but some other things are going to suffer, like maybe healthcare is going to suffer, or maybe the environment is going to suffer. And so a culture that has a lower score, they're going to care more about taking care of people more than getting ahead, or taking care of the environment more than making money and getting ahead. So Canada is somewhere in the middle. We have a balance there. Some countries are higher, some countries are lower, but that's the masculinity. So a more feminine country, again, is a more nurturing and caring country. Healthcare, the environment, and things like that. The last one is a little bit tough to understand: uncertainty avoidance. It's like this. Some countries like to do things the way they've always done them. Some countries like to take risks and try things that are new. If I have a low score, it means that I'm fine with taking risk. I'm fine with trying things new. If I have a high score, it means I want to avoid uncertainty. I want to avoid risk. If I have a high score, I want to do things the way I've always done them. Okay, so you're going to email me and ask for a specific culture. I'm going to email you back and say, yes, you can do that culture, and here are your questions. And so I'm going to give you questions based on this website here, the etiquette guides, and then I'm going to give you some questions based on these graphs, and you're going to do a comparison with your culture. And you're going to answer me by email. So you're going to have a very professional looking email. It's going to be in paragraphs and proper grammar and everything spelled right, and punctuation and all that stuff here is very important. You treat it like a professional work world email. And so let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, good luck.